them the toughest games to lose. You know, definitely when you're fighting hard and then, you know, they make a big play, and we make a big play, and you know, and then make it to overtime, and then losing overtime is one of the, you know, the most painful is the games to lose. But we just got to learn from it and continue to get better.
How would you describe? I mean, how would you describe your game? I mean, you had, you know, career high in rebounds, but you also you had like 8 turnovers.
I know this is all new for me. You know, I never been the go-to guy. I never been the guy they come to trap. You know, I'm adjusting. You know, I'm learning. You know, I'm getting better. You know, it's gonna be some games like this. But I'm gonna go home, watch film, and figure out how to get better from it.
You just talked about the traps that they were sending you. I mean, how would you describe that?
It seemed like every time I was about to get past him, another guy came. I just gotta keep my head up, continue to watch film, and get better.
Were they coming like on the dribble, like when you first caught it?
They were switching it up. They was keeping me guessing.
Was this the hardest game you ever played?
No, I wouldn't say it's the hardest game. Just this guy had a lot of turnovers. I don't think it's my hardest game I ever played. I think this is one of the funnest games I ever played, actually. It was a great game. We was going back and forth. Both teams was playing hard. It was an exciting game.
Down the stretch there, third game in 5 days, and then you go to overtime. Did you guys start to wear down a little bit, Flip said?
Probably, I don't know. We're all young players. We should be all right. We should continue to, keep fighting and keep playing hard.
At one point, though, you were using pretty much everyone on the bench. Sean, who just got signed, is inbound, and
yeah, we
one
had
of those games where you get in foul trouble.
Yeah, we had a lot of guys in foul trouble. We need some guys to come in the game and step it up for us. That's But I want to our guys play hard. Including Javale. He helped us out tremendously during the end. A lot of block shots. It's unfortunately David Lee. He's an all-star player. He snuck one by.
Good defensive stopper for my team, and I feel like I did it for the most part.
What do you talk about? I mean, I made that big block on Wilson at the end of regulation, and then I didn't get the one against Lee there at the end. Just talk about those 2 plays.
Lee's a great player, but he knew exactly where to put the ball because I'm gonna try to block a shot. 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna get it. So he just put it right in the right spot, and I missed it and it went in.
What are the things that you're getting a lot of minutes now, and obviously Flip is putting a lot of trust in you to leave you out there. What are the things that you're learning, do you feel like?
I'm just trying to be more patient, and just trying to show him that I can be a steady, consistent player.
What is a game like tonight? What kind of impression does tonight leave in your head?
I feel like it's just an impression that our team are competitors, and we want to win, and we want to show everybody that we're not just a bunch of guys put together. We're a team, and we want to actually win these games.
Well, what was your impression of just the overtime after you guys had sort of clawed back there right at the end?
I felt like it didn't have a lot of energy, but we were stopping them, and they were stopping us, so at least they weren't like blowing us out. We were just trying to stay in the game and come out with the win.
As you and Javale had the dunk on one end and then a block on the other. You didn't get to start. Was that part of your game plan tonight? Was it come out quick?
Yeah, definitely it was to come out quick because I feel like I had to bring a lot of energy. With me not in the starting lineup, I feel like the energy is just a little bit less, so I just had to come out immediately and just bring some energy.
Can you just talk about what your emotions were when you were at the free throw line, chance to tie the game, I guess, just what was going through your head?
I made the first one, so I just felt like I was going to make the second one. But I felt it come off wrong, so I just tried to go and get the rebound, and then they called a foul on Mike.
What was it like to be in that position? I mean, it said something like it was the first time. You had so many plays in your first time in your NBA career you really involved down the stretch in these kinds of games.
It felt good. It wasn't I wasn't nervous or anything, but it felt good to have people depending on you to make a play. And unfortunately, I didn't get to make that free throw and I missed the block. But, man, we get in that situation again, I promise I will.
Yeah, definitely frustrating, especially, the way that they won with Lee making the buzzer beater. But, you got to give New York a lot of credit. They play hard, and they finished the game out.
You were perfect until overtime.
Yeah. They made it tougher. They put a bigger guy on me. I guess they knew I was going to get the ball towards the end, so I think they put Chandler on me. He's a bigger guy, a little physical, so he made me take tougher shots.
How does that sort of leave you with the impression for tonight? Because you had a double-double, I guess, going into overtime.
Yeah, I'm just frustrated with my play in overtime. I think I could have helped the team out a little bit more. We had some young guys out there. Mike Miller wasn't out there. Al wasn't out there. Me and Dre was out there. Really, the only two guys who played major minutes this year. But I'm just, frustrated with my play in overtime. I think I could have helped my team a little bit more.
What were the Knicks able to do to kind of come back and chip away at your lead?
That's what they do. They just keep on grinding. They gonna play New York Knicks or Mike Basketball, their head coach, no matter what. It's just going to come down. If they got open shots, they're going to take them. If not, they're going to get the ball moving, try to find Lee or Harrington or McGrady in a mismatch, and go from there.
How about your play over the last 3 or 4 games? How would you evaluate it?
I'm just trying to finish the year really strong. I'm just trying to take it one game at a time and just try to play as hard as I can, try to learn as much as I can from, Coach Flip and Sam, Coach Witt, guys like that, just trying to be a sponge.
Getting all these new guys involved, can you talk about that?
At times it's tough, it's because, when I call sets, a lot of them don't know exactly what we in, but, the other guys help me out a lot, like Dre and Mike Miller. They try to help help the other guys get into their position. But this is the NBA. That's what happened, when new guys come in, they got to learn on the fly. But these guys have been great, all of these guys who came in, they've been coming in early, learning the plays, and it's gonna happen for them.
What was your evaluation of Javale tonight?
Javale played really well, He made a few mistakes, but that happens, I made a few mistakes, Dre made, Mike made, but that's what happened, The same shot that David Lee made at the end of overtime, Javale blocked that shot at the end of regulation. So, hats off to him. But the biggest thing, he's a hard worker, and, he going to get that piece of film and watch it over and over and try not to let it happen again.
Prior to overtime, what was working for you specifically? Why do you think you were able to have such a good game?
If you watch me or if you know me, I just try to let the game come to me. I never really try to force too many things. Sometimes coach get on me and he tell me to be more aggressive, but I just try to fill him out. And then certain times I just try to pick my spots. And tonight I just was picking my spots, and obviously I was picking the right spots and I was shooting the ball at the right time.
Result aside, is this as good maybe as you felt about an individual performance this year? Going 20 and 10 and not missing a shot through the first 4 quarters?
Yeah, this is unbelievable. I want to say unbelievable. That sounds cocky, but this was a good performance for me. I feel as though that I could play like this all the time. But I just gotta take my time and just grind it out. Just keep letting the game come to me. But I got to give a lot of credit to my teammates, because my teammates they get me open. They find me when guys leave. Guys like Mike Miller help off of him. He find me. So a lot of credit goes to my teammate the way I played tonight.
How about a game time bucket? 25 seconds left.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's wondering, with all the guys that are gone, trade deadline, and even before with Gil, who's going to step up, take the big shot? You did, and you hit it. Just talk about that shot.
Well, coach, every time at the end of the game, he mostly either gonna draw up a play for me or probably Dre, and he drew the play up and he just told me to be aggressive. And Javale set the screen, and I drove hard at Lee, and he backed up, and I just took the shot. I just try to play out of the offense. That's my biggest thing, just trying to play out of the offense and execute the offense.
You also talked about having high expectations for his point guards. Like, even admittedly says he rides you kind of hard. Can you talk about experiences learning under him versus kind of any other coach you've learned point guard under?
Yeah, definitely. With him and Randy Whitman, it's pretty much the same. But I could, even when I think for me, when I look at when coach says things to me, sometimes I sit back and be like, man, but I did it right. Sometimes I still get the assist, or I still do something, and we'll be talking to film, but he'll say something to me like, but don't pick up your dribble right there. Keep your dribble, because if you didn't get that pass, you still have to make a play. And it's just I'm learning, and everything that he's been teaching me, and he's been telling me where to pick and find guys that you can see it in my assist numbers, because I think over like the last 5 games, I think I had 6+ assists or something like that. It's just he's on me, and I understand why he's on me. I understand what he wants out of his point guard, and at the same time I'm learning and I'm trying to give him everything that he wants.